Well, good morning and welcome. Now, I know this is Thanksgiving week, and the thought for today doesn't directly tie into the holiday, but there is a connection. Both my wife and I had occasion to give thanks last week, as well as learn a lesson or two in humility. Every once in a while, something happens to remind me that humans are fallible creatures. Yes, I know we like to think of ourselves as having it all together, able to take hold of and deal with anything that comes our way during our day. But there's times when we're told in no uncertain terms that our capability to get through the day unscathed is just a fairy tale. And most of the time, what happens isn't a big deal in and of itself, but it often makes us think about life and how fallible, how dependent we really are. Two recent incidents come to mind. One happened to my wife and the other to me. Neither was a huge deal, but we both were reminded of our humanity and our need for some humility. Last weekend, my wife and I went to Town West Mall in Wichita to walk in the public area. It was cold outside and we needed the exercise, and so we went to a place that was warm in order to walk. Most malls don't mind having walkers, as they call them, in the mall, and Town West is no exception. The day we were there, we noticed several people doing the same thing that we were doing. We wore our coats into the mall, but the wife shed hers when she got inside. We walked the perimeter of the commons area, got our exercise in, and went back home. And on the way out the mall door, she noticed that she didn't have her small purse with her. Well, thinking that she didn't bring it to the mall, we went home and, we looked and found it wasn't there either. We looked in the car, we didn't find it there, so we went back to the mall, hoping maybe to find it in the parking lot or maybe inside the mall. It was not to be. Well, we were becoming increasingly more nervous at the prospect of a mall patron picking up her purse and using her credit cards, identification, and so on for nefarious purposes. So once we got into the mall, we went to the mall office, which, it was closed as it was a Saturday. But there was a sign on the door that said if we needed something to call security, so that's what we did. Security directed us to their office, where the man there asked her to describe what she had lost. She did, and he said, "No, I think we might have it here." And he went back to the back room and brought it out intact. He said one of the walkers who had been coming to the mall for years had found it and had turned it in that morning. Well, our stress level came down considerably upon seeing her purse. We thanked him profusely and we went on our way. A few days ago, I lost the keys to my pickup. Normally, they're in my left jeans pocket, but they weren't there, and they were nowhere to be found in the house or in the garage anyplace. I figured that I had dropped them somewhere when I was maybe running some errands the day before. I didn't think much of it since I had a spare set of keys, and whoever might have found them wouldn't know what to do with them anyway because they didn't have any identification on them. I didn't have occasion to drive the pickup for 3 or 4 days, and when I did need to use it, I got in the driver's seat with the spare set of keys and I tried to insert the keys into the ignition. Well, the key wouldn't go in. I tried a second time. I got the same result. And I wondered what in the world was wrong with the key that it wouldn't go in. And I looked down at the ignition and I saw that the keys that I had lost were in the ignition. I had failed to remove them a few days before for some reason. Now, neither of these incidents resulted in a catastrophic outcome. Both were eventually taken care of without incident. Yet it's these kinds of things that serve to remind us of our fallibility, our need for the goodwill of others, and the reality that, we're getting along in years and we may not be quite as savvy in some areas of life as we once were. Now, I usually try to end these Thursday thoughts with some kind of spiritual truth. That truth for today? Well, as much as we might like to assert our independence, our capabilities, our self-care, and our lack of need, we know that at the core, we are dependent in so many ways. In the case of the missing purse, we were dependent on the goodwill and honesty of people we didn't know. both the one who found the purse as well as the security man who held it. We were dependent on the mall for providing security, and that list could go on. And as for the missing keys, although no one else was involved in finding them or turning them into lost and found, I realized that I did not do what I normally do, that is, take out the keys and put them in my pocket. Nor did I recall not doing that. Several days passed until I found them, shall we say, accidentally. And I'm still puzzled by my lack of care in handling them, and I wonder what else I fail to do from time to time. Well, out of a host of biblical references on humility, one of my favorites is in Micah 6:8, where the prophet says this: God has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. May God bless you this holiday season.